Hello, everybody, and welcome to ALD No Limits. I'm Christie with ALD.
And I'm Ken with AMN. Our guest this episode is the John Kuderer. Welcome to ALD No Limits.
Thanks for having me, guys. This is awesome.
Thank you.
We are thrilled to have you here, John. And I have to say, you've been such a beacon of light for me. I've told you this, but I'm saying it publicly, loud and clearly, loudly and clearly, that you have been a beacon of light for me as a mom with a child diagnosed with the newborn screen. You've given me so much hope and insight into the ALD journey. And so we're really thrilled to have you here today to share your story.
Absolutely. Glad to be here.
So before we get to ALD, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what those stuffed animals are in the background?
Sure
any
thing.
other fun facts?
Yeah, sure thing. So let's see. I'm originally from Menominee Falls, Wisconsin. So just city right outside of Milwaukee, and grew up there my entire life. So same house that my parents are at. So very small knit community. All my family is still back there. We all live within like a 5-mile radius. So anytime I go back home, visit my parents, I'm getting the whole extended family together, and they always have to see me at least on the day that I fly out. So just normal kid growing up, played sports, did well in grade school, in high school, kind of dropped sports, didn't want to do that anymore, found my love of theater and talking and public speaking. So started getting into a lot of presentation roles. And then for college, attended the Milwaukee School of Engineering. So really incredible university in state of Wisconsin and really the Midwest. It was a private university of only like 2,200 students. It had like a 60% dropout rate. So it was absolutely tough being there. But I was able to make a lot of friends, got to really contribute to my university. And it only took me 5 years, but I did get my degree in mechanical engineering. And I always wanted to be a mechanical engineer. And yeah, as soon as I got my degree, I got an email saying, hey, you want to join our company in Phoenix, Arizona. So I said, sure, let's go. Like my parents, it was hilarious. I got the job and my interview was like a week later, and my parents were like, what are you doing this weekend? I go, I actually have to get on a plane because I'm interviewing. And they're like, you didn't tell us this. And I go, nope, bye. And like told them the day of that I was potentially looking for a job in Phoenix, Arizona.
Wow.
And finally, when I came back, they're like, what company are you working for? And I gave them the name, and they're like, they're headquartered out of Madison, Wisconsin. Why can't you work out of Madison, Wisconsin? I was like, nope, Phoenix is calling me. So
very cool. So you broke free of the small town.
I did. And
good for you.
So I moved to Phoenix, Arizona in about 2016, and I've been kind of in the same career. So I'm a mechanical engineer with specialty in HVAC design. So construction, buildings. I mean, every building has ventilation, it has plumbing, it has heating and cooling. So my role is to design systems like that. So all the airflow, all the changes. And it's funny that we kind of live in this medical world and we regularly visit hospitals, but I've designed plenty of hospitals. So there's code books upon code books for healthcare and how to keep people safe. And so anytime I go into a hospital or a surgery center or anything, I always look around, especially at the ceiling, and go, hey, did they design this right? Are we in good hands? And I met Christina about 2 years ago, and we just got engaged about 2 months ago. So that was.
Wait a second. This is huge. This is huge.
Breaking.
Because I feel like in 2021, okay, 2021, you were one of, this was going to be a question of mine. You were Most Eligible Phoenician. You were like in a magazine. Is that correct?
That is correct. 20, like the span between 2019 and 21, I just realized that you could sign up for things and you can just do whatever you want for the most part. So I was signing up to give presentations. I was signing up for it's Phoenix, Arizona has this Ignite Phoenix, which was kind of like an abridged TED Talk. Everybody gave 5-minute presentations. And I said, that sounds like fun. So I went and applied. I got an email that said, like, are you the next Most Eligible Phoenician? I said, sure. And I applied. That same 2 to 3 year span, my university was giving out awards to alumni. And I was looking through the awards and I said, sure. So I applied. And I got all these things and all this recognition because turns out you can just do stuff. You don't need permission for the most part.
Very cool. So, well, you were one of the most eligible bachelors back then, but now you're off the market.
Not anymore.
Congratulations. That's awesome. And how lucky is Christina, honestly?
I'm lucky as well.
Very cool. Very cool. So, and I see Pikachu in the background there. It looks like some collectibles.
Yes. So this is our office. So I have my computer set up here. I have Christina's. She's right next to mine. We have cat trees and cat beds all out of shot, but it's Pokemon themed. So you can't see it, but there's Pokemon art. We have our wall behind us. Because turns out when you're an adult, you can do whatever you want. You can make a Pokemon themed room if you want, and you don't have to ask permission.
Nope.
Love it. So cool. Are you a card collector as well?
I was back in the day. I don't think I probably haven't bought a card since I was like 10, but I do have a really thick binder of the first 2 generations. So everything that you see back here, this is all from the 90s.
Wow, cool. Love it.
That could be you have a retirement plan probably in
Right?
that binder. Take a look.
Totally. Valuables.
Yeah.
So thanks for sharing all of that. Life seems to be going pretty well for you.
Yeah.
So now let's hear about ALD. How did you first learn about ALD? How has it affected you, your family? Tell us about your journey.
Sure. So ALD came into our family's life when I was 1 year old. So I was born in 92. We didn't know about ALD until 93. And that's because my older brother, who's 5 years older than me, he was 6 at the time, and he started to succumb to cerebral ALD. So I was too young to know anything that was happening, but it is the story that you hear a lot within our community of a boy around the ages of really 5 to 8 is any time that symptoms can present. And hearing stories from my parents, it's, Joey started first grade and then started having some temper tantrums. At that age, you're not really able to explain what's going on. So my parents were also confused. And then he started developing anger issues and he couldn't figure out what was happening. And then he just kept getting tested. And soon he was losing the ability to talk, losing the ability to walk, those type of things. And it was already too late for him after he overdeveloped the symptoms, I would say. So I believe it took my parents about a 4 to 5 month process of, hey, something's happening, to nearly a vegetated state at that point. So at that point, he was in a wheelchair, wasn't able to talk anymore, wasn't able to feed on his own. And then like they had really diagnosed him just before all that happened. So it was just the answer came too late, and there was no way to treat it, something like that. So that happened when he was 6 years old and I was 1. This entire time, my parents are frantic because they have to care for him. They kind of just dropped me off at grandma's house and said, help us out. We'll see you later. And it was really fortunate. Again, my family's all close, all within 5 miles. My grandma actually lives 2 blocks away from the elementary school that I was going to. So that was really easy for my grandma and grandpa to take me to school, pick me up, do whatever they needed to do, because my parents just needed full care of my brother, and a lot of the family just came together at that moment to help out my parents learning how to take care of my brother now, because my brother needed 24/7 care at that point. And it happened in like a week of eye to like have a boy that's fine, and then 6 months later needing 24/7 care. That's hard on anybody to really alter your lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And did they have a diagnosis, or was it unknown what was going on?
No, they ended up getting a diagnosis. It was shortly after he like developed all the symptoms that they did get a diagnosis. And that's immediately when they turned around and they said, why? We know it's ALD. What caused ALD? And so they tested my dad, they tested my mom, and they tested me, and they found out that I had ALD. So at 1 year old. So I like to call it the old-fashioned pre-screened, because of an unfortunate older sibling or a family member succumbing to ALD. That's usually how they get diagnosed and caught early. But because of that, that's a solid 4 to 6 years of planning and getting your doctor team, getting them assembled. And you have to remember, this is 1993 at this point. So you hear things about Lorenzo's oil, and I think Lorenzo's oil actually came out it's either 91 or 93. So we're in the heart of it, just getting figured out and made public amongst
right. And so should we bring up some pictures?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Brother, I think.
Yeah, that's the first
this was going to be my intro slide.
Oh my gosh. Wait a second. Go back to that first one.
Do you want to go back to that one?
How old are you in this picture?
Oh, that picture, that's high school. So I think I was like 16 or 17 in that picture.
Look at the hair.
Right? Just the mop. People call it the Justin Bieber, but it was like back then it was emo. And
We'll go because that one right there, yeah.
And that's you with your brother.
Yeah, so that's me and my brother. This is before my transplant. I want to say I was about probably 4 or 5 in that picture. So.
And how old is your brother?
So if I was 4 or 5, my brother would have been about 10 or so.
10, yeah. So when did your brother pass?
So my brother actually passed away in 2003 at the age of 16.
Oh my goodness.
So he was like that for 10 years.
Okay.
And that's
okay. It's so hard.
And my parents took great care of him during that time. It was our life was very scheduled. Mm-hmm. My dad worked first shift, then my then he came home, and my mom worked second shift, every other day or about three days a week. So, and then we were able to get nursing staff for essentially third shift between like 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. so that my parents were able to go to sleep. But that was our schedule. It was really routine. And I think it was about once a month, if not every other month. I'd get both parents to be able to spend time, because otherwise someone was making sure that Joey was okay.
Yeah.
And then you don't realize how much you kind of rely on a parent, because, hey, can you drop me off at a friend's house? No, because there was only one parent home, and they can't leave the house at that point. So I got really good at asking for favors, like, hey, you want to hang out? By the way, your parents have to drop you off, or your parents have to pick me up. And luckily with the school that I went to, it was tied to our church. So there's a really close community. Everybody knew everyone. Everybody knew my family. So they knew what my parents were going through and like what the situation was.
So it sounds like there was a lot of support.
Oh, tons and tons of support.
Go ahead, Ken.
No, go ahead. I think you were going there. Go ahead.
So you found out, or your family found out, you had ALD at 1.
Yeah.
And then were you monitored, like with MRIs and blood work, or how did that work at that time?
That's a great way to phrase it, because it's literally that time. We're looking into a time capsule. It's very outdated tests. So back then it was mostly blood work. So they tested my blood, saw that my ACTH was high, so immediately knew that I had Addison's. I was put on hydrocortisone really young, like 3 or 4. I remember taking the liquid dosage out of a syringe because I was so young. I wasn't used to pills at the time. So having Addison's disease has just been a part of my life as far as I know. And back then, they thought that cerebral ALD would affect your cognitive abilities. So it was actually a lot of IQ tests. I think they only did an MRI once a year, if that. So it was a lot of cognitive IQ tests, and it was like match this shape or solve this puzzle. And not to toot my own horn, but I was a pretty smart kid, and I was able to solve these puzzles. And one of the stories that my parents tell me is that there was literally a book that you tent up, and the tester had the answers on one side, and then I had the question on my side. And instead of tenting it up, they just laid it flat. So my parents were watching me take this test, and there's literally like the answer is circled in red on their side, because it's a device that's made for 4 to 5 year olds. And my parents are watching my eyes going, oh, I'll just point to whatever's red. And my parents are like, he's cheating. Like, you're not testing him. This isn't good. And they're just like, oh, he's able to, outsmart the test. This is great. And my parents were just super frustrated with the doctors. But there weren't any, there was no standardization. There was no MRI every 6 months like we have now. And the story that I've been told is something changed in either my demeanor or personality or something that set my mom's alarms off. And she demanded that I have a MRI scan. I had my baseline MRI scan. They take it once a year, if that. And she demanded that they do one. And they're like, no, he's outside of, we'll wait till the year is over and we'll scan him then. And she said no. And she flew me to Johns Hopkins and basically barged through the door of Johns Hopkins and said, my son has ALD. He needs an MRI scan. You guys know what you're talking about. Give him an MRI scan.
I love it. Tiger mama. Tiger mama.
Right?
Yep.
And so they did. And they saw that my baseline LES score was a 1. And it jumped up to a 2. And that triggered the 4 years of prep to like, let's get this transplant going.
So how old were you at that time?
I was 6 years old at that time.
Okay.
So 6 years old. So did you stay at Johns Hopkins or did you come home?
No, so we went to Minnesota.
Okay.
So my pediatrician was really good. I think as soon as my diagnosis of ALD came in, he researched it a bunch. So he was, just a family pediatrician, but he was very familiar with ALD. He knew what to do. And he immediately suggested me going to Minnesota. And we went there and just got the ball rolling. But before we went to Minnesota, he put in a request for me to have a wish. So I am a Make-A-Wish kid.
Nice.
Yes. And I think
awesome. So what'd you wish for? What'd you do?
Oh, it was the 90s. So 98 to be exact, and I wish to get slimed at Nickelodeon Studios.
Oh my God, that is amazing. That green slime.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh my gosh. Do we have a picture of that?
I think we might actually have a picture of that.
Oh my gosh.
Hold on.
There we go.
Oh my gosh. They put you in like a kiddie pool and slimed you.
So, how badly can I bash the Make-A-Wish Foundation right now? This is this might be a hot take, but they take a wish and they just distill it to what it is. Now, even more so because I have volunteered with the Make-A-Wish Foundation now, and they grant a lot of wishes, and it's really hard to make a meaningful wish now, just because, they hear somebody wants to do a shopping spree. They're not going to fly them to London. They're not going to do a fashion week, even though that's what they want. They're going to go to their local mall. I've heard the same thing with animals, where it's like they really want to see a koala, and I want to go to Australia to see a koala, but if all they really want to do is see a koala, they'll take them to the zoo.
Yeah.
So it's so many, because they've reframed it. Back when I had my wish, back in my day, it was for those who are terminally ill, and they have since changed their messaging to those who have life-altering illnesses for children.
Yeah.
Which absolutely means, those that are life-threatening, but I'll say it, the bar's been lowered, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay to say it.
But did you have a good time though? That's the question.
I did. So I wasn't on slime time. I wasn't on anything that was fancy. This was a behind the studio tour that I was pre-selected to get slimed. So still a great memory. Still an awesome time at Nickelodeon Studios, because they could have brought somebody in to slime me. Luckily, I got to go to Florida, and more importantly, during this time, it was one of the few memories growing up that I had both my parents with me. because they just
so cool. Yeah.
They just took care of all the care that my brother needed. They're like, you need 24/7 nursing staff for how many days? 5 days? Done. Like
wow, that's awesome.
Get your butt to Florida before you need to start transplant. So like I hear from my parents that like from me getting the formal diagnosis that not the diagnosis I have ALD, the fact that I have cerebral ALD, that they saw it in my brain.
Yeah.
To getting a wish and being in Minnesota is like maybe a 4 to 6 week process. It moved fast.
Yeah, that is a whirlwind. Wow. So you went to Minnesota. Who came with you?
It was my mom who came with me.
Okay.
So fortunately, my mom just told her boss, hey, my son needs a transplant in Minnesota. I need to go with him. And her boss just said, go, there'll be a job here when you come back. Like you're fine. Just do what you need to do. You're not.
That's great.
Yeah. And then during that time, my dad was also working back in Wisconsin. So he would work Monday through Friday. Friday, he'd immediately start driving up to Minnesota, and that's like a 4-hour drive one way.
Yeah.
And then he'd stay the weekend, give my mom some relief on Saturday and Sunday, and then late on Sunday, he'd drive back to Wisconsin to work the week and also take care of Joey because, he's there. And
yeah.
Oh my goodness. It's a lot.
So, yeah. So the transplant, so we, do you remember the details on that? Like, how that all went and how you felt? I mean, yeah.
I remember parts of it. So, back when I had it, it was full body chemo and radiation. Like this is, I don't know exactly where I fit as far as the trials go, but I had to be in like the top 5 trials of a bone marrow transplant to treat ALD.
Right.
And they just did full body radiation. They're like, we just have to kill as much white blood cell count as we can to make sure that this bone marrow takes. And so I remember getting the chemo treatment. They basically attacked everything from my chin down with chemo and radiation. So when I first started treatment, I was 6 years old, so I was running around the hospital bed and running around the Make-A-Wish Foundation, or Make-A-Wish, not Make-A-Wish Foundation, the Ronald McDonald House. And, just slowly got weaker. The weird thing is that when I was having the chemo and radiation, I noticed that like my skin was more fragile and I had less platelets. So I tried to open up a soda can, and for like a month straight, every time I opened up a soda can, my finger would cut. Like, you don't think about that, but like I was just so fragile at that point that I was like constantly cutting fingertips to the point that my parents just like would give me a butter knife to jar them open because we realized we can't do this. And then had the classic, wake up and all of a sudden a clump of your hair falls out. And my parents got mostly tired of having to change my bed sheets and pillow casing every single night and day because clumps of hair. So we just ended up shaving it all off.
Yeah.
I have some good pictures of my transplant next.
Yeah, let's see the pictures. And oh my gosh, so cute. Paper airplane power.
Yeah, so this was
your face is puff, all of the medications make faces so puffy.
It's the moon face, yeah. So this is Christmas. I was admitted to the hospital in about October, November. So this is a pretty quick transformation.
There.
And this is like the reason that I got the airplane power. This is probably close to me being bedridden, because just chemo, radiation, zero immune system. I was pretty much bedridden. And so it was a lot of Legos. I got an N64 at that time, paper airplanes, just building stuff and activities that I can do while in bed and didn't require me to move around.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of, you're not quite a mechanical engineer at that point, but kind of some similarities of engineering, even
building things. I love it.
Oh, yeah.
And what about, can you tell us about like your donor? Do you know anything about your donor?
Yes. So my donor is, this is a good picture. So I think, this is about 1 to 2 month transformation.
Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
So top one's me at the Ronald McDonald House, at the beginning of my treatment, and then that's me in the middle of my treatment. Yeah. So my bone marrow donor, my parents went through the registry, and again, we knew about this disease at the age of 1. So I had about 5 years of planning, and talking to my parents, there was about 5 potential matches. And I think the top 2, one was in the US, one was in Germany. And it's basically, they just send a message or call people at that time, because it's 1998.
Yeah.
And whoever says yes, you just get them scheduled. So just a random person from Germany. It was a 6 out of 6 match. Back then, they only tested 6 items. So I had a perfect match back then. I think they're up to, is it 12 or 14 biomarkers that they have?
It's a good question. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
I feel like I always hear the number 10, but I could be wrong.
There's more biomarkers. They've just gotten so much better at this. I hear now that it's more localized chemotherapy. I don't know if they do full body radiation anymore. So transplants are going a lot smoother. I'm seeing kids nowadays going through their transplant. They're not getting the moon face. They're not getting doped up with steroids, just making sure that they can fight anything and everything off. It's localized. I think the kids are coming out of transplants a lot better. So this is a fun fact. I actually got to meet my donor in 2019.
So cool.
Yeah.
So that's your donor right there from Germany?
That is my donor right there. So
very cool.
He lives in northern Germany, and I had the opportunity to go to Munich because my fraternity brothers were planning a trip. So there was about 25 of us who went to Germany for, of course, Oktoberfest. We wanted to go to Oktoberfest. And while I was there, I reached out to my donor. My parents and him have been pen pals ever since my transplant. I think they give you a year or 2 after the transplant before the information becomes disclosed to each other, because you both have to check a box. So my parents checked the box saying, we would like to know the donor. He checked a box saying, I'm willing to give my name away. But I think the reason that there's kind of like a waiting period is they just want everything to cool down. They want the transplant to take. It'd be really awful for someone to develop complications and to, You don't need to know who the donor is at that point. There's other bigger things at hand. But I got to meet him. Me and my buddy, we rented a car, went on the Autobahn. That was awesome. And yeah, got to meet him. And it's very weird going to someone's house across the world and seeing a picture of you like on their mantle. And I'm like, that's me.
That's awesome.
Why is there?
Yeah, really. That's cool.
Oh, that is so cool, though. What a special connection, and life-saving, right? That's
absolutely
amazing.
So
that is really cool.
Bouncing back on it, we went all the way up there. So we had the bone marrow transplant. So transplant, complications from the transplant that you remember or can discuss?
No, actually.
No.
It went surprisingly well. It's because we caught it super early. We had the 6-for-6 match. My mom was a hawk when it came to the staff. So, she was questioning everything that they did. My mom has a medical background. So she's a medical technologist and does the lab reports and understands what lab results are. So it's incredibly comical because during transplant, you're getting blood work done once a week, if not every other day. And she'd ask, what were the results? And they give the typical doctor answer of, it's good. It's fine. Everything's within range. And she goes, no, give me the numbers. She had a journal of like tracking all my numbers and saw how it went up and down and wrote everything down.
I love it.
I think she went through about 2 journals while I went through my transplant. And then every doctor's appointment after that, because she typically attended until I was around the age of 16, 17. Mm-hmm. Same journal, same history, this book probably contained 10 years of lab results in it.
Wow. That's awesome. I love it. Mama Bear, Tiger Mom.
Oh, for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
it went pretty smoothly. No graft versus host.
No, none of that.
Okay. And then what did life look like afterwards?
It got really simple, really boring, no medical complications. I still had Addison's disease, so I had to take medicine for that.
Back to school.
Yeah, I did miss out on first grade. I think I ended up getting back to Wisconsin in, say, February or March, just like the snow was just melting. And I said, hey, I can go back to school. Like, school ends in June. I got 3 to 4 months that I can go back. And my parents were like, nope. So we just called first grade a wash, and that's okay. I had to repeat it. But yeah, just taking hydrocortisone. We were really fortunate that I went to the grade school that my church that was connected to my church. So typical classroom size was maybe 16 people. So you hear about parents cautious about germs and how many people are they going to come into contact with. Like, I probably came into contact with 50 people every day, and my parents had the cell phones of everyone that was involved. So it was a great environment, but I was able to play sports like no problem. I played basketball poorly, but still played. Got into volleyball. Our school also had a flag football team, and I actually convinced my mom to let me play flag football, which is wild. I'm just Christie's like just shot up like, you played football.
I'm like, football, flag football though. Okay, like no tackles, like no concussions maybe. I mean, we have this discussion with newborn screening families all the time, right? Like, what are you doing? Like, are you putting your child in bubble wrap, or are like, where are the limits and boundaries, right? And like, yeah, football with helmets, I'm like a little wary of, but you can get a concussion falling out of bed or cross,
right.
It's tough, right? It's like a family has to make those decisions and be smart about things, but still, I'm glad you were so active. That's awesome. And you were in the Boy Scouts. Let's flash that picture, Ken. Let's go back to the Boy Scout
let's get that back up there. Absolutely. There he is.
Yes, so I was incredibly involved with Boy Scouts, mostly because scouting starts at, I believe, first grade, and it was very social, got to hang out with people, but my parents were also really big leaders. Like my dad was a den leader because they helped facilitate the activity that I could do, because this was before sports. So they wanted me to do something that wasn't like physical and roughhousing kids in the neighborhood, I guess. But again, I only had a small group of kids that I was really playing with, but I became super active, super involved, was a camp counselor for several years, became an Eagle Scout. This is actually me at my lodge induction. So I think I was about 18 or 19 here, because in the Order of the Arrow, which is the Boy Scout Honor Society, you can continue up until 21 because it's a little bit extra, but this is me being a lodge chief. So I was the president for Waukesha County chapter of Order of the Arrow, and it was about 400 members. So like I had to run the events, and I had to be in charge, and I had to, make phone calls when you're a teenager. And I got involved when I was like 13 or 14, but I remember comically preparing speeches and be like, I have to leave a voicemail. How do I leave a voicemail?
That's awesome.
You had
a lost skill for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that was a great experience. And then I really kept that on from high school into college, where I joined a fraternity. Yep. And that was a lot of fun. Again, group of friends that you get to see every day, and you get to do a lot of leadership things. We did a ton of events for our campus and for the community, and it was just really great to be involved. So I just have a need to constantly be involved with something.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it.
Good.
So I'm curious, like, if we flash forward just a little bit, like, how does ALD affect you these days?
It really doesn't. Like, ALD as a whole doesn't affect me. What does affect me are kind of I would call them tertiary symptoms, from whether it is the ALD or it's the chemo and radiation at such a young age, or the heavy steroids. So I do kind of have a medical journey that I'm still on, where at the age of 13, I got diagnosed with hypothyroidism.
Yeah.
Then I was on, medication for those two things. And at the age of 20, we finally realized that my cataracts was too much. And we don't know what caused my cataracts. They say that it's heavy steroid use, but who knows what it is? It just is. And so I was 20 years old when I had cataract surgery. And that is brought on some other difficulties, because your eyes aren't able to focus anymore. So I always have to have progressive lenses. And with progressive lenses, I have to have these glasses, and then my sunglasses, and then my computer glasses, because I work in front of a computer all day. So I am constantly switching between like 3 pairs of glasses. I have no less than 2 on me at any given moment.
Wow. Yeah. That's a lot to manage sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So as you've gotten older, because this comes up a lot, people will be like, and a lot of people ask too, like kids that have bone marrow transplant. Okay, we're getting older, and they always say, "Oh, AMN," and they bring AMNs, and so you haven't really had any like, as far as AMN symptoms, you feel like stiffness, the burning, tingling, bladder, bowel. We can throw all of it out there. So.
No, actually, the only one that I might be somewhat experiencing is bladder. Like I do have to use the bathroom quite often. I never had any sort of accent, but
right.
But at the same time, I'm also drink about 10 cups of water every day. Like I'm constantly either drinking like coffee or water, and I think that could also cause it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I know, again, I had been tested and they're like, oh, you have overactive bladder. And that was at like the beginning of my journey. I'm like, well, they tell me I'm going to have issues peeing. I'm like, I'm overactive. So I'm like, that's good. That's how I looked at it. But very cool.
Yeah. So no AMN, no gait issues, any of that.
No gait issues. No running issues. In fact, I'm trying to get back into sports. Just about 2-3 years ago, I was still regularly playing volleyball and softball.
Sweet.
So
nice.
Being active. One thing that I did do, because I'm constantly trying to improve my health, is that I went on testosterone actually about 2.5 years ago.
Okay.
So I've always had low T levels. Actually, I was offered testosterone when I was about 13. And I turned it down because I didn't think I would need it. And then as an adult, I'm like, well, I learned more about testosterone, learned that it helps with mood, helps muscle mass, helps energy.
Mm-hmm.
I decided to go get tested again, and they're like, you are incredibly low. Like it was way out of range. And so I said, you know what, let's just go ahead and do this. Like, what's one more fix?
Yeah.
And have you felt a change? Do you feel
Absolutely.
good?
Absolutely. Okay. It's awesome.
Sweet.
Nice. Thanks for sharing. So Addison's, you still manage that. Obviously, it's a lifelong commitment to the hydrocortisone. And yeah, so I guess one of our other questions is just like, who are all the people supporting you? I love that you've had such a robust support system with your family and your grandparents and your church community back home. And now you're engaged. Who are some other people in your life right now who, like, you know, are going to give you a high five when something is going really well, or who you go to when you're having a tough day?
That's a great question. I of course lean on my fiance a lot, but when it comes to ALD and Addison's disease, it's really not a major part of my life. You know, I'm fortunate enough that I'm able to essentially nip it in the bud with any of the problems that I have. So eyesight, pay a lot for glasses, and I'm able to afford medications, and I'm able to be proactive in anything that I see declining in any way, or anything, or even if I'm curious, to be like, hey, what are my levels for this? Cool. Let's go for it. Because early on, when I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism, they said, you're still within the normal range. You can take, but we could put you on this medication. Unfortunately, you have to take it for the rest of your life, because at that point they kind of induce it. And I said, let's go for it. What's one more pill? So I've just kind of taken my entire life health strategy as what's one more pill, because it's just going to improve my life tremendously. So I will spend buttloads of money to make a smooth life, and I'm fortunate enough to be able to afford that. kind of lifestyle.
Nice. So
Yeah,
can I
makes
go?
sense.
I feel like we skipped over. I feel like we did skip over something. And again, and this is obviously is about you, but you know, you said your family was tested. So your mom, like, so I'm assuming she was positive.
Yes, my mom is
Okay.
positive
She's
for
positive.
ALD.
Okay.
And
Gotcha.
she
And what about her siblings and other folks in your family, extended family?
None of her siblings got tested. So she, unfortunately, her sister and her mother aren't passed away. But she doesn't know how she got it. She does have some symptoms. She broke her foot, and it had difficulty healing. So she does have to have. She likes to wear hiking boots so that she has full ankle support, and she's not going to go running or jogging as if she wanted to anytime soon. But she still loves going to national parks and getting out into the fresh air and walking around at the main sites. And she's not going on any mile-long trails, but she's still experiencing the outdoors and going to the beach. And so she's mentioned that she has had some of the symptoms, but I think her and I have the same mentality of not going to let this hold me back. And if she just needs another type of shoe to get the job done, get the shoe and move on.
Adjust, adapt, and move on. Absolutely.
Yes. That's awesome. I love that.
Great.
And what advice would you give somebody who's newly diagnosed? I mean, you've been such a wonderful presence when you've come to the newborn screening family calls and sharing your story, which again is so hopeful. It's like, oh my, wait, our boys can turn out like John? That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's like smart, funny, cute, yay.
Eligible
like,
Bachelor.
Eligible Bachelor. No longer. Okay, no, he's not eligible anymore. Ladies, he's off the market. But yeah, just very successful and like gives us hope. Honestly, I've heard that, you know, that's my view, and I've heard that from other folks as well. What would you say though to, you know, a family who's managing Cerebral? What would you say to, you know, help ease some of the stress and uncertainty in all of that?
Sure. So for the families, I think right off the bat, ask questions, understand what's happening. It's every medical professional job is first and foremost provide care. Secondly, answer the questions and make sure that the patient and the family and the parents all understand what's happening. Make educated decisions, because you shouldn't just be nodding along to whatever the doctors say. You should stop them and say, no, what is this? Explain it to me. And really thoroughly understand exactly what's going on, so that you know what medications are what, you know how they're interacting. Even in a layman's term, you have blood thinners, you have steroids, you have all these other, you have so many things that your son might be taking. So they should understand what's happening and not just be along for the ride, be able to take some controls. That's first and foremost for parents. And then the second one, I actually gave this to a parent at some point, and I said, son first, patient second, which not everything is ALD related. Sometimes they're just a boy. Like sometimes they're just a rambunctious, symptomatic 9-year-old, and they're like, he's really hyperactive, or like he's eating a lot. And it's like, yeah, he's 9. Like, I don't.
He's growing. Yeah.
Right. So it's always son first, patient second, because not every change, not every problem has to be ALD related.
Thank you for that. Thank you. That touched my heart. I sort of teared up, okay?
Son first, Christy. Remember that.
Yes, a good reminder, right? And I think we hear that from folks. It's like, my kid bumped his head. My kid did this. Is it, is this ALD? Is that honestly, my 5-year-old, he's a little gem of a human, but he was having these temper tantrums. And I was like, is this ALD? Like, no, he's 5, right? And he's testing our boundaries here. Right. But, yeah, I appreciate that very much, very much. Not everything is ALD related. So, Ken, is it time for our question?
It is. Question. I don't know if John has an answer to it. And we kind of discussed, if you could live one day without ALD, what would you do? I mean, I guess we could even go back. Could we go back to when you were a kid? If you didn't have ALD, what would you do? But even that's deep. But go ahead. See if you can take it anywhere.
Sure. Yeah, because the way that you frame it is always like, if you're now and you take away ALD from your life for one day,
right?
It really doesn't affect me. I go weeks, months without even thinking about ALD because it's not even at the forefront. I guess the answer is only like, I wouldn't take my medication that day. Like, that's pretty much the only caveat, which is at this point 3 pills. So my life would change by not taking 3 pills. And I think, I wish I had a better answer, but it's a hopeful answer because we have all these newborn screen parents, and I get asked all the time, what is my life going to look like? And I go, I forget about ALD. There will come a time that, 10 years from now, when they're walking across a graduation stage, that you just pause for a moment and you go, oh, that's right, he does have ALD, because it does not affect your life at all.
Right. It will give you Addison's too. You can have the one day without Addison's, That's
right,
nice.
and that's
the pill.
that's about it, because there's really nothing holding me back right now.
That's
I love
fantastic.
That.
Yes.
Nothing holding you back. That's amazing.
I mean, as Christy kind of said, you are sort of kind of like a role model. You're an eligible bachelor. You're just living your life, but you technically are a, people look at that, and that gives a ton of hope, and that's awesome. Obviously everyone's different, but you can be like John and.
Absolutely. That's why I love being involved with the newborn screen calls and attending the conferences, because, all these parents don't have a resource. And I love being there and just being able to tell my story and being like, this is the new norm now. It's crazy to think that, we're still in the infancy of newborn screening, because I think it officially started about 10, 12 years ago in New York.
Yeah.
And those kids are finally 10 years old, but most of the country, they are just starting to get to the point where they are getting their MRI scans and having, seeking treatments, because we just see an influx of families going, what do I do? I tested positive. What do I do? They came back that he has cerebral. What do I do? And it's amazing. It's crazy seeing how many people are just tested positive who live completely normal lives. So it's like, we needed to have this screening available. And I'm just really glad that it's, with the technology of screening, with the technology of bone marrow transplants, back to the Make-A-Wish Foundation, we're getting to the point that it's not a life-threatening illness, it's a life-altering illness, which is a huge jump in categories. So they still get their wish. I'm a little salty about it, but it's really it's going to be tough. It's going to be weird, but like there's so much hope now than there was even 10 years ago when we first started screening. And I think I'm 33, 34, so we're like 28 years out post transplant for me. That's huge.
Wow. Yeah,
huge.
that is huge. It's incredible. Oh my goodness. Well, John, it's been such a joy talking to you today. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
And as we know, our goal with ALD Limits is simple: to connect with one another and share stories of hope and resilience. And you've certainly done that today. So when is the wedding date?
We don't have a wedding date yet. We're okay with 2 to 3 years of waiting and planning, and we know how frustrating and expensive it can be. So we're just chilling for now. But we do about 2 years is going to be the horizon. It just happened, guys. It happened like 2 months ago.
This is breaking
So
here
awesome.
on ALD No Limits.
Breaking news on ALD No Limits. You heard it first here.
That's great.
John Kuderer is off the market. No, but congratulations, and
Thank you.
please keep us posted. It's awesome. And to our viewers, thanks for tuning in, joining us today, and hearing all about John's story.
Yes, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Anytime.